Hola amigos, ¿cómo están? Yo soy Wendy Reyes, reportera comunitaria, y hoy nos encontramos en el downtown de Asheville. Y en nuestro segmento de arte y cultura vamos a conocer un libro muy bonito para todos los niños que se llama Black Girl, Black Girl. Y tuvimos la oportunidad de conversar con el autor de este libro, Jorge Redmond, y también asistir a la presentación. Y estamos caminando en el centro del downtown, por lo tanto visitaremos a Malaprox, donde vamos a buscar el libro que de seguro allí va a estar. Así es que acompáñeme. Y ya nos encontramos adentro de Malaprox, donde usted puede encontrar este precioso libro en la sección regional. Si usted lo observa, es un libro preciosísimo donde usted puede leer con sus niños y a la vez aprender inglés. A continuación tenemos la entrevista con Jorge Redmond.
And we're going to talk about that because he just presented last week a book, Black Girl, which is a sequel from another book that he presented 1 year ago. Jorge, welcome to our conversation.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being here.
Thank you very much. Let's start for arts, culture, and resilience. What are your thoughts about that?
So, being born and raised here in Asheville, this is an artist's dream. Art and culture, creativity is what is harnessed here in Asheville. So I'm just a product of that, being born and raised here and a citizen of this community. And just fortunate enough to be able to use what creativity I was able to garner from COVID and the inspirations that came from COVID to be able to put into a children's book. So giving back to the community in a way that I feel that reading is essential and an important element within our kids' society as they grow up. I felt it was a need for us to be able to understand where we came from and perhaps it shapes where we might be able to go in the future.
How do you think that can build resilience in our community?
Usually, when you start thinking about the type of literature that we are used to, it's very one-sided. And so that was kind of the purpose of this book, is that we wanted to have a book that for the BIPOC community, for them to look at a book in a sort of mirror essence, so they can see themselves in the book. When you see yourself in a book, perhaps you may see yourself with a better future. You may be inspired. But more importantly, it's also a window from other individuals within this community that don't usually see people of BIPOC featured in a book, so they can perhaps empathize and give support in areas where they weren't doing that before.
And so, what's a question that's been burning on your mind for these two?
I am always really impressed whenever I read like all of the rhyming and in the tradition of like Dr. Seuss and Black Bear, right? The things that speak to our kids and also develop those crucial literacy skills that also tie in historical figures and all of the important history. So I'm curious about how you chose the figures and the powerful Black women who went in this book and maybe some that's like, oh, I'm really interested in the story, but didn't make it into the book because of rhyme schemes.
Itself, the ballerina as well. We wanted to make sure that people understood that girls could cross any barriers as well. And that's what I think is that what we try to do is try to give them, there's one person, but God, you can go on and on just about that, or you can do a writer or an entertainer and go on about that. And so we're just kind of scratching the surface with who we chose.
Does that mean there's going to be a series?
Like a volume 2? Volume 2? I hope so. I really do. But yeah.
Yes, so I wrote Black Boy, and that came out, I want to say, about 2022. And so we just now, myself and my brother from another mother, my favorite friend from college, Ali Commando, we had just come out with Black Girl. And so that's now out. So I feel fortunate to be called an author, a published author. Those books can be found in Malaprops, an independent bookstore here in Asheville. They can be found in Barnes & Nobles as well as Amazon as well. So there's areas where you can pick up that book or those books if you feel the need to be able to understand Black history and sort of context of following Black historical figures in a male perspective as well as a female.
My name's Ashley Allen. I'm the co-executive director of Read to Succeed, a local literacy nonprofit. We are out here celebrating with the Hop and Malaprops and Jorge Redmond the launch of his upcoming book, Black Girl, Black Girl. We love bringing out authors who have Black-centered characters, BIPOC-centered characters, representative characters. Post-Helene, I think it's now more important than ever that we come together and we celebrate each other's cultures, that we celebrate each other's identities, not because it divides us, but because it allows us to see one another and come together. At our community holiday extravaganza, stay WNC strong out here and make sure we're showing up for each other.
So how can art can help us to keep that cohesion in our community?
Yeah, it was funny, we were talking about the essence of kind of pre-hurricane and post-hurricane. Where we were as a community before the hurricane and where will we be afterwards? What can we learn from it? And what we learned during the hurricane is that people put aside their biases, their prejudices, any sort of barrier that they may have, and help other individuals with the community without even asking. And so the thought is, how can we continue that on after FEMA leaves, after all of that support leaves? How can our community still continue that sort of drive that allowed us to feel like we're together? And I think what's most important is that we have to ensure that we go out to those communities, right? We can't stay in our silos. We have to go out and engage in communities that aren't represented as much. And sometimes that's being uncomfortable in certain spaces, but that's how you bridge the gap. Asheville, the special part of Asheville is that we do have a togetherness of our community. It's unfortunate that Hurricane Helene brought that out, but I feel like if we can continue that on, then we could really just come and buckle down to the essentials, which we're all humans. We treat all each other with respect. And so if we understand just that simplicity of where we are, how we're living in this community together, I feel like at that point we should be able to help each other reach the goals that we're supposed to get to. And as well as perhaps giving some sort of purpose and change of the BIPOC community, helpfully understanding a way to navigate through that is what I feel my purpose is here in Asheville.
Bueno amigos, espero les haya encantado la entrevista con Jorge Redmond. Y antes de despedirme, le invitamos a que venga y compre los libros apoyando a nuestros escritores locales en Malaprops. Y se despide de ustedes su reportera comunitaria Wendy Reyes. Bye.